I will give you a quick quiz and let's see how good of an investor you are. John invested $1,000 when he was 10 years old with an annual return of 22%. On the other hand, Mike invested $1,000 when he was 30 years old with an annual return of 66%. By age 40, who has more money? Keep in mind two things. First, Mike is making 3 times the amount of money John is making every year because his returns are 3 times higher, but his investment time is 20 years less. The answer is John. The story happened in real life between the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett, and Jim Simons. Before I tell you the story that was explained in the Psychology of Money book, I would like to let you know that I made this video for you for those who don't want to read the Psychology of Money book but want to get the benefit out of it. Even if you read the book, this content I'm making will make lessons stuck to your mind because I'm summarizing the book in a simple way for your mind to absorb it and keep it. Let's dive in. The author talked about compound interest in chapter 4. He gave an example of Warren Buffett, who bought his first stock when he was only 11 years old with an annual return of 22%. He compared him to John Simons, who is the founder of one of the biggest hedge fund companies in the States. Jim did not invest as early. He started investing when he was 50 years old, but his annual return is 3 times Buffett's. He made an annual return of 66%. Jim's net worth was close to $21 billion, when Warren's was close to $85 billion. This is simply the magic of compound interest. The author here is trying to say that investment is not about making huge returns for a short period of time. It's about making small returns in a long period of time. That is why they say wealth is built slowly. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Anything that is built fast, its probability to collapse is high. The author also shared another story about Jesse Livermore, who was one of the most successful stock market traders of his time. By age 30, he had almost $100 million. In October of 1929, the stock market crashed and wiped out 1/3 of its value. Livermore's wife, Dorothy, feared that Jesse might do something bad and feared worse on the evening of 29th of October. He then broke the news to his family that somehow he had shorted the market that week and they made around $3 billion. During one of the worst months in the history of stock market, he became one of the richest men in the world. Now let's talk about another man, Abraham Germansky, who was a multimillionaire real estate developer who made a fortune during 1920s. As the economy boomed, he bet heavily on the growing stock market. Germansky went all in. In that dreadful week of October 1929, Germansky was missing. They found him dead. He committed a suicide. Here we have a contrast. The October of 1929 crash made Jesse Livermore one of the richest men in the world, but it ruined Abraham Germansky, well, perhaps taking his life. 4 years later, the same story happened again. After Livermore's huge gains in 1929, he overflew with confidence that made him make larger and larger bets. Eventually, lost everything in the stock market. Livermore eventually took his own life. The timing was different, but Germansky and Livermore shared a character trait. They were both very good at getting wealthy and equally bad at staying wealthy. The lesson from that observation applied to everyone, at all income levels. Getting money is one thing, keeping it is another. Getting money requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. But keeping the money requires the opposite of taking risk. It requires humility and fear that what you have made can be taken away from you just as fast. The author also talked about making money sometimes required not doing anything. For example, Warren Buffett made his wealth by not getting carried away with debt. He didn't panic and sell during the 14th recessions he's lived through. He didn't ruin his business reputation. He didn't attach himself to one strategy. He didn't rely on others' money. He didn't burn himself out and quit or retire. He survived. Survival gave him longevity. There is a statement in the book that I like. It says, there are books on economic cycle, trading strategies, and sector bets. But the most powerful and important book should be called Shut Up and Wait. It's just one page with long-term chart of economic growth. The author wants you to understand three things. First, being financially unbreakable is more important than big short-term returns. Second, planning is important, but the most important part of planning is to plan on the plan not going according to plan. Third, you should be optimistic about the future, but paranoid about what will prevent you from getting to the future. You see how hard it is to maintain wealth? I shared a story of a former CEO of McKinsey who lost $100 million in one night. The story was shared in the Psychology of Money book, and the lesson behind it is very interesting. You can watch this video right here, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you feel you learned something new.